Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Tom's Corner, where you can hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Topic lesson today. You might find this, again, very interesting. Now, do I send money to preachers to be healed? Let me say it again. Do I send money to preachers to be healed? 2 Kings 4:1. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant, my husband, is dead, and thou knowest that my servant did fear the Lord, and the creditor is come to take unto him my two sons to be bondsmen. In other words, they would have to stay under his auspices, and they would have to work off the debt until the debt is totally paid. Don't know how much money that her previous husband owed, but apparently it was enough till he was going to take the kids as collateral and work them. Okay. For 2, and Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Oh, gee, that's something you don't hear anymore from pastors or teachers or anyone in the gospel. In fact, I believe now it's totally reversed. They want you to send them money instead of them helping you get money. Now, and Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me. What hast thou in the house? And she said, Thine handmaid hath not anything in the house, save a pot of oil. Number 3, then he said, Go and borrow the vessels abroad of all thy neighbors. In other words, go out as far as you can go and start bumming pots, kettles, anything that will hold oil. Now, even empty vessels is what he's looking for. Borrow not a few. What that means is, in terminologies of King James, get all you can get, okay? Borrow not a few. In other words, if it says borrow not a few, then you go out and get every pot, kettle, or anywhere. Even if you find one stuck under a drain somewhere, you got to get them pots, get them in here. Okay, number 4, and when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, and shalt pour out into all those vessels. Now, the question you can ask here, how come she had to close the door and get her sons in there? It looks like it was kind of a quiet event. Not the neighbors to see or others to see. Could be. Now, what I'm assuming here, she's the one that went to the prophet of God. And because she went to see the prophet of God, the prophet looked at her and told her what to do to resolve the issue, to keep them from keep the debtor to taking their sons, okay? Nobody else, right there it is. There wasn't nobody else running to him and asking him, help me. Okay, now here's what happened. Okay, and when thou art come in, and thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons, and shalt pour out into all those vessels, and thou shalt set aside that which is full. In other words, get something going here. Now you got to understand, listen to this part. Note, she was pouring out of the oil from the pot that she had. God was, what was he doing? He was multiplying her blessing over and over again. Can you imagine? Took the original pot, and I don't know the size of it, didn't matter if it's this size or this size. And I'm saying it's probably something like this, my assumption. Steady pouring, it was flowing out into it. They lined them up, fill, fill, fill. They had that line going, and they kept filling them, grabbing them pots, throwing them up, going oil, oil, oil. Blessing was coming and was overflowing, okay? Because that oil did not stop right there. That she said, okay, she was pouring out of the oil from the pot that she had, and God was doing what again? Multiplying her blessing over and over. Now, we have seen in our lives, we're talking about my wife and myself, in our lives, God would take over our $10,000. We had $10,000 back one time that we had. Actually had, that surprised me too. And $10,000. And I decided I wanted to talk to her about it. You always talk to your wife, consult your wife and things you do because she's a part of you. Bible says these two are one. If you're keeping your wife in the dark or you're hiding a paycheck all the time and you claim it's your own very own and you won't let her look at it, you're in sin. Did I say that fast enough? A lot of you do it. Why? You want to dominate your wife. Now, I don't know why I'm getting on sidebar, but you do. You try to dominate your wife and no one of your marriage is going to pot. Now, we're talking about a pot here. That's a joke. Okay, I'm talking about us. I'm giving you an example. Okay. God, my wife came to me and said, you know, God's going to multiply because we didn't have enough money to build back. We didn't know where all the money was coming through, but it was a start. And I talked it over with her, and if you feel that I shouldn't do this, I won't do that. Because I was never happy down there. I wanted to be back where I'm at now, in the country, on top of a mountain, with seclusion and lots of trees, ponds, and so forth. This is me. Now, what happened? Right before, and you remember this, right before the prices of everything jumped clean out of sight, quadruple. Ooh. And I'm talking about in the lumber business. We decided, my wife had talked to me for years about consolidation. And I didn't like the idea of it. And I didn't like paying what I had bills here, I had bills here, bills here, bills here. Sort of like what was going on, but I'm alive. Anyhow, finally, I thought about it. And God sometimes works through you and you think it's you, but it's not you, it's God. And I said, I think it's time that we consolidate these bills, see what we can do. And actually, when we did, we still owed money on the center. And we actually got interest down. Yeah, paid all our bills off and everything, consolidated. So what happened was we had a little bit of money with the 10,000, and lumber went clean out of sight. Clean out of sight. Right before it did, I had a premonition, and I think it definitely came from God. I bought lumber. You know how you band 2x6s, whole truckload. I bought it, bought that, bought flooring, bought that. Down on the stairs where we were starting to work and had to store it all in there. And Lord, we had lumber, we had siding, we had all these things ahead of time. And when we did, God increased it. God increased it. He took what we had, the little that we had in doing this construction work, and enhanced it, enhanced it, enhanced it. Unbelievable, till we absolutely we had enough to do everything we had to do at a super cheap price because it wasn't but a week later the prices all went out of sight. All right, that is for your learning admonition, and I'm telling you that so you actually know what God can actually do. Yeah, He can bless you. Okay, multiply it over and over while building our home back after it had burned to the ground. Now let's go on. Number 5, so she went from him and shut the door upon her and her sons, and who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. Number 6, and it came to pass when the vessels were full that she said unto her son, bring me yet a vessel. She was in the mode now. It was moving. And he said unto her, there is not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. In other words, the oil stopped flowing. Now, in 7, it says this. Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, go, sell the oil, and pay thy debt, and cut me in half, and we'll all be happy. Did he say that? No, he didn't. Here's what he said. So go sell the oil, and pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest. He didn't get his cut in it, did he? Okay, now, the prophet of God never once demanded a cut in the money she received by selling the oil. It's kind of a little bit different from what's going on today. He did not once tell her, give or sow to me $1,000. Did he? You didn't hear that from him. And God will reward you 10 times over. That's what we're hearing. TV is telling you that. Give me that money. Give me that money. Sow that seed. Sow that seed. And that's all you hear. Everyone is grasping. They can't live without money. Listen, you know what? Where's their faith at? I thought if they had faith in God and their anointing, and God would prosper them, and you would tell them truth. I never ask you for a dime. I never will. What? Yeah. Some of you know I don't do this. And if I have ministered at any place in time, I never have received offerings from anyone. I do it like Paul. If I have to, I'll mend tents. I'll work somewhere. Get my money the right way. Why? Because I'm telling you the truth, and I'm not ashamed of the gospel, and I'm not going to sugarcoat on you. I want you to wake up, go to heaven. It's not hard to go to heaven. You believe on him. Oh, but they tell me I have to do this, and I have to sow my seed, and I have to do... Yeah, okay, let's go on. Now, and God will reward you 10 times over. He will just completely bless you. And if you're sick, guaranteed, you give me that money, I'll pray for you, God will heal you. What about the ones that are not healed? See, you can't base your life on these ministers because they're false teachers, false prophets. And their whole deals, they minister and teach prosperity. And one of the main big ones that do that stuff, right now his wife's got Alzheimer's. I saw her on TV, and she stood there like a blank statue. She didn't know where she's at, what she was doing. She was on her way out, folks. But yet, they were the ones that claimed, God will heal you of everything you've got and everything, and it's going to be hokey dokey. God did not promise you everything be hokey dokey on this world. This world's not yours. So why you claim it? All right. Now, I do not believe in so-called prosperity doctrine. You send me money and God will bless you. If you need help, even to pay your bills, write to one of these prosperity preachers. You hear what I said? If you need help in your building, and you need help because you're sick, and you need a prayer and crime, write to one of these prosperity preachers and ask them for help. And let me know how that works, okay? God bless. See you next trip.